Welcome to Comic Chop News. This is the LongBox Paradox, episode 63. I'm Dan, your host, and I am back on schedule again. So thank you for joining me, and I got some curated reviews for today. New and notables. One of them, it's just I threw in because I love the book. I'm going to start out from DC Comics. Also, I'm going to warn you ahead of time, this is fairly a DC-heavy review. Marvel really didn't have a lot out that I really wanted to talk about this week. It's kind of a shame. But start out with the hot spec book everyone was talking about that now I'm not sure is really a spec book. I think people might have jumped the gun just a tiny bit too much. We have Batman number 89 by James Tynion with Guillem March. And starts out with the hospital. Some guys talk about the Bruce Wayne renovation and what he's doing to the city, and Penguin comes in stabbed and basically says that he'll pay $100,000 to the doctor if he calls the number and he survives the night. If not, he'll make sure his men kill the doctor's family. Says Batman had thrown him out of the car, basically. We could then go to Batman. He's chasing down Gunsmith. They give a little rundown of what Gunsmith is about. Then we cut to Harley and Catwoman fighting some goons. The body they think is the Joker isn't. It was a clown named Artie. And we then see Merlin and Cheshire attack Catwoman and Harley saying that she's going to kill Mr. J. In the bushes during this fight, we see a person with some purple highlights. It's Punchline, guys. But hidden in shadows. Again, everybody's going, this is the first appearance of Punchline. eBay went crazy with it. I had a couple of friends who tried to pick up this book today because they didn't really know what was going on and couldn't get it. More of the Gotham Assassins. We then see the full picture of the designer, and Catwoman starts telling Bruce basically who the designer is. Harley and Catwoman bring in Cheshire and I think it's Merlin, drop them with the other people. And then we then go to the epilogue, and it is Punchline on the phone. All we see is a little bit of her hair and her lips yet again, talking to Joker, and he's got the Bat family with all their secret identities, and I find that's actually really interesting. So I don't know if you could really consider this the first appearance of Punchline. I feel like this is going to be considered a cameo and not really worthy of being called a first appearance, but people went nuts for this book. Hell Arisen number 3 comes out this week. And from what I hear, this is actually where we're going to see the first full Punchline number 3. Not Punchline number 3. Punchline. So keep your eye out. Talk to your shop owners now, because it might do the same thing that happened with this. Again, I don't know if just seeing the lips and hair can be considered a first full appearance. I don't know. But if you manage to get a hold of it, it might be a sell quick. Well, I mean, the market's going to get flooded. By the weekend, I expect fully that eBay will be flooded and the prices are going to come way, way, way down. So that's your warning on that. And my review on this would be about a 6.5. A lot of fast-moving stuff going on and not a whole lot of substance. But compared to the Tom King stuff, where it was just non-stop emotional dialogue with not a lot going on, I'll take this over it. I know they joke around calling this meat and potatoes Batman, whatever, I'll take it. Also, if you were on the internet today, apparently Tom King said that Catwoman's pregnant. So, boy, that's a story that's going to be happening. Excited? Not I. Yeah, well, that'll happen in that spin-off book and hopefully not affect the main books. But if I need another reason not to want to read the Batman Catwoman book, that's it. Ooh, Batman's struggling with becoming a father again. Anywho, next up we are going to go to from Image Comics, Deadly Class, issue 43 by Rick Remender, Wes Craig. This is my I threw it in because I like the book. A ton of shit happens in this story, in this issue though, so it's kind of worth mentioning. So there is a party happening at a ski resort, I guess it would be, a cabin out in the snow in the woods, and Marcus is walking by, sees Shabnam and oh, I can't remember the blonde country girl's name, but they are roasting marshmallows over Shabnam's ex-girlfriend's burning body. And Marcus walks in on Maria and the, what do I call it, the mafia guy. Bone's zoning out in the woods. He freaks out, throws up, and starts running off. And as he's running in the woods, he finds this pagan tree, and Helmet's there with his giant axe. He's wearing makeup. He's black metal now, I guess you could call it. And basically, he's going after Marcus. Maria is struggling now with being caught, and the cult that was had Petra when Petra died is out in the woods, and they're coming after all of them. The mafia guy runs off and leaves Maria by herself to fight them. Shabnam actually becomes friendly with them, and the cult starts to invade the house. The whole scene with Marcus finding Maria, I don't know why it hit me, maybe because of things that have gone on in my real life lately. Like, even reading it hurt me watching it, and that's kind of weirdly powerful for that to happen. Again, maybe it's just my emotional state, but just the sheer raw reaction of how he vomits and starts to kind of backpedal. Enough about me. As the invasion's happening into the house, Saya jumps down the stairs, cuts off some arms, just going sick house on everyone. Marcus is still being chased in the woods by Helmet. He's throwing axes at him, and he wants a confession from Marcus. Like I said, a lot goes on. The cult basically fucked them all up. Issue moved really fast. I am a huge fan of this series. I'm a huge fan of Rick Remender. Probably go with a 7 on this. This always seems to happen where there's an issue like this, and then things really will jump off the next issue. But a ton happened. I didn't think it was one of the best ones yet, but it was a solid issue. And like I said, this is going to be a DC heavy episode. Flash forward number 6. I am all over the place with this issue and this series. It's started badly. This one had a little bit more emotional gravitas to it because it starts out with Wally sitting with his family, well, not his family, with Jai and Iris. Brett Booth's pencils are very good on this, and I feel wasted with what I consider to be not a great script by Scott Lobdell. The writing hasn't been very strong on this. We get a moment of Wally being kind of in his own bliss and having these great times with his kids. And then Metatron's Mobius chair rolls up, and the Fugonaut is going over what's happened so far. And Wally walks out, and he's like, no, not yet. And then he's talking to Fugonaut, you know, these dark matter worlds are created out of fear, things we regret. My greatest fear was always that I wouldn't be able to protect my kids from all the super crap I knew was out there. He's like, this isn't just another dark matter planet. I created this world. It's my greatest nightmare become real. And He's just like, yes, Wally West. And basically he tells him he needs to go on the Mobius chair. It will overwhelm all his senses, both heart and mind, with pure knowledge. Any capacity for emotion, passion, love, human connection will elude you forever. Every part of your mind will be filled with all the information the Mobius chair has acquired until now, with infinitely more to come. There will be no secrets from you. But there won't be any room left in my head for anything else. No thoughts of Linda, Iris, and Jai, not even room for me in my own mind. And basically, Wally's like, this is going to become my penance. And he makes the Fugonaut promise him to when the planet falls, Iris and Jai will be free and get them home. And so he gets on the Mobius chair and destroys that world, and his suit changes colors. He says love you always to them before eventually he will forget them. Tempest Fugonaut manages to restore Linda Park's memories that she had kids, she was with Wally, and the kids show up out in the backyard. She comes out and hugs them, and Wally sees it, and there's a dialogue in him, and they start talking about how he's now something new. We see the beings who sat in this chair throughout history. We see Batman, Owlman, Metatron. We see Metatron destroyed, obliterated by a man. The same man who touches the chair shares his power with the chair. He is creation. He is doomsday. He is the clock ticking in the universe. We share his vision. Gee, doomsday, clock, ticking, multiverse. Could that be Dr. Manhattan? And Wally takes off in the chair, and then we go to the last page, and he has the Dr. Manhattan ring circle on his forehead now. And he says, today is a new day, a new vocation, a new me. And he has a smile and says, the adventure continues in Flash number 7 to 50. I felt this continued the series being very clumsily told. I'm already sure Scott Lobdell is going to be writing the next series of this, and it doesn't necessarily make me happy because I don't think he's that great of a writer. And again, he has a job writing. I do not. But I feel I have to at least critique this a little bit. I'm interested to see where they go with this new Wally, Dr. Manhattan, Mobius chair, Metatron mix. But at the same time, I can't give this book a very good review. I'm giving it a 5.5, maybe a 6. It just... there was something off about it, and it bothers the hell out of me. It really does. It's just so clumsily told. And then Tempest Fugonaut, who's kind of a throwaway character from Sideways. Not a fan. Again, I'm a huge Wally West fan, so I will look, but I feel like the character is damaged. He just is at this point. Tom King did more damage to him than any other writer and villain could have. And now we have this. And a new book that just came out today that I'm very happy to talk about. It is another book from the Joe Hill House Black Label imprint. And it is called The Plunge. It's Joe Hill with art by Stuart Immonen. And there is a Gary Frank B cover to that's fantastic. Hill House continues to have some hit and miss titles. This one, in my opinion, is a hit. The only thing I really despise is previews still can't put a fucking good description of any book in the previews book to let you know exactly what it's about. They seem to just not give you enough information. I feel like that's going to hurt this book. Book starts out with on the island of Masker Bay, Attu Island. A guy is out there playing fetch with his dog, and as the dog gets near the beach, there are a ton of giant octopi or squid. I think they're squid. And they're all beached on the ocean. I mean, they're gigantic. They're size of aircraft. And he's just staring at them, and He's complaining about the smell, and all of a sudden this giant wave comes up and just drowns them. We then jump again to Attu Island and Navy Town, and something's popping up on the radar, distress signal from the survey ship Derelith. The weird thing about the Derelith, it disappeared 40 years ago, and now it's just reappeared, and its automated distress signal went off. We have another jump to Anchorage, Alaska the day after, which would be October 4th, and a shark is attacking somebody, and she has a squid and then shoves it in its mouth to kind of drive it off. And it's kind of like a SeaWorld type of place. And the diver then is told that these bristleworms, they're feed, they're something wrong with them. And she's like, how bad? Are they off their feed this morning? And she's like, no, they're eating each other. All the sea life is starting to act weird, and then she gets a call wanting her to go to Attu Island. We then go to another part of Alaska the same day, and a salvager is being approached by a oil company lawyer, I guess you'd call him, and he's hiring the salvage team to go find the Derelith and explaining what they were doing. It was the old CEO's son who was on that ship, and how they were looking for rare wildlife. So they're assembling the team to go to this place. Moriah ends up going, and the salvage captain's kind of interesting. First time we meet him, he is waving a dildo around. They had salvaged a shipping container that was filled with dildos. Like I said, interesting book. I feel like the way it's written is kind of like a lot of movies we watch that had these same kind of build a team to go, what was it? Alien vs. Predator kind of had the same premise, except, without a haunted ship. Well, not haunted ship, but yeah, a distress signal going off. So as the salvage ship goes out to the Synconic, I can't even pronounce this, I'm not even going to. It's an atoll. It was October 6th now. And they're following the distress signal. And they go to the island. They've drank. They're sleeping. As Mariah goes to the bathroom because she drank a little too much beer, she finds a body that has, looks like it stabbed itself. And there's the sea life attached to its neck, and it's talking, and it's saying, it's all right if you need to scream, Mariah, and it's talking to her. And that is the end of the issue. It's a great last page to build your excitement, dread, and interest to the next issue. More horror than anything else. I really dug this issue. Stuart Immonen, I don't think gets enough credit for how great of a visual storyteller he is. Just look back at his old Ultimate Spider-Man run and among other titles that he did. Just great artist. Another guy I don't really think gets the credit he deserves, because I wouldn't say he's a superstar artist, but he's just so damn good at his craft. He just is, and the way he manages to move the story, I can't give him enough love. I am going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. Highly recommend reading it, especially if you like Scott Snyder's The Wake. And there's another book that I really liked, and I hate saying it because Brian Wood wrote it, and it's kind of known as a sexual predator now, harasser, but it was called The Massive, and this has a couple of vibes of that. Again, great team of Joe Hill and Stuart Immonen. Really digging this. And again, the Gary Frank B variant for me, I love all Gary Frank's art. So that was totally worth a pickup in my eyes. Buy this book, 100%. And that is all for the reviews I've got for this week. I might post more on my Instagram. You can find me at comic_chop_news on Instagram. And on Twitter, I am at chopcomic. I hope you were able to find the books you were looking for today. Again, Batman 89, while being hard to find today and on eBay very, very priced exorbitantly, I feel it will be dropping considering how little of Punchline we saw. So the market's going to be flooded by the weekend. So if you're going to buy, that might be your time. I know most online retailers pulled theirs or they sold out. So just be careful when you're buying. And I'd like to thank everyone for joining me. And little reminder to keep your eye out. We are going to be back with the Ink Panels Graphic Novel Book Club coming in the next couple of weeks. We don't have a date nailed down because everybody's schedules are kind of all over the place. But we are doing Jeff Lemire and Dean Ormstrom's Black Hammer Volume 1. We're all very excited to talk about it and rereading it now, taking notes. And our Lock and Key Volume 1 did really well, and the crew that we assembled to talk about it all vibed really well, which was great. If you haven't watched it, go back. It's on my created playlist for the Ink Panels Graphic Novel Book Club on the channel. And with that, so long, take care, farewell, Auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.